Less than a minute to go. 30 seconds, as a matter of fact. Barely contain myself. Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and me. Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope everybody's having a terrific morning so far, and that this will be a good pause in the middle of your day. For those of you working at meetings, thanks for watching. And potentially getting in trouble just for us. I appreciate that. My brother gave me this shirt. He's a big fella. It's my little brother. He's I'm 6'2". Actually, I've probably shrunk now that I've gotten older. But I was 6'2". He's 6'3", 240. He's a big guy, so I'm kind of swimming in this shirt today. It's laundry day, so take what you get. Oleander, Emily, Maritza, Nimcraft, good to see y'all. Goth Emo River, it is the best starting music ever. Plus, if you check the description of each show, you get a song of the day. And after I get like 5 or 6 in, I'm going to just give you the link to the playlist, and every show will add a new song to the playlist. Today's song of the day is Ping Pong by Stereolab. If you're not familiar with Stereolab, French electronic band. They're great. Just trust me, you'll love Stereolab. I'm trying to keep them all like sort of low key so that I don't jar you in the middle of your day. So they're all about mid tempo ish songs. Samantha Stewart. Hello to you. Megan Myers, Ginger, and Bubbles. Vicky C. having a late lunch, then back to work. Well, I'm glad you're here for your late lunch. Did y'all read what like the title and everything? Here, let's switch to. Pardon me. I'm a little rattled because right before we hit the 1 minute mark, I got a news flash on my phone. Just a news item that I chuckled at, but it completely distracted me from the day's work. Let's take a look at our, let me pull this down, and we'll switch over to, hey, it's time for the show music. Whoops, not that one. There we go, that one. My jukebox is funny today. Yeah, we can move this out of the way for now. Let's move this back in, since this is what we were working on. Remember this? On Tuesday, we were going to make fairy doors, so we got out a piece of paper and we drew 3 shapes, and you all liked this one the best, so we just kind of refined that shape, and then we made this. I say I made this. I'm proud of this. This looks pretty neat. I've never sculpted wood before. I've never done a piece of wood or a wood texture on a door. I just winged it. I wung it. I don't know what the past tense is. I winged it. But I really enjoy it. It's neat. And today we're going to seal this to the bottom of a box that we make. And we're going to mix up some epoxy silicone and pour over it. And then by next Tuesday, what we will have is a silicone mold of this sculpture. And then we'll pour in some silicone. I'll show you that in a minute. We'll pour it in with some black tint, and what you'll get is a hard resin black version of this that we can then paint. If you start with a black undercoat, your paint's a little more dynamic. It just happens that way. It pops. All the little nooks and crannies show through as dark instead of white, so it emphasizes the depth of the sculpture. And I enjoyed working with clay. So look, we're a non-agenda program. There's no agenda to our crafting. So I think when we get the mold poured and set, I might take a break, warm up some more clay, come back and work on another door. Or maybe some windows to go with this. Windows would be good. Something. We'll figure something out. But I like working with clay, so we're just going to keep working with clay for a little while. Knit and Craft, thank you. Luna, welcome. Loon? Loon. I have a hard time calling someone Loon. Loony? Lune? Luna. Loon? Which do you prefer? Marie Howlett. Thanks for sneaking in. So, we've got our sculpting tools. We've got our wax in there. One thing I'm going to do before we cast it is I've got a nice stiff brush. So just about the right size. And I'm going to use some rubbing alcohol. And I'm going to go through here, and what that'll do is it will smooth it even a little more and help dissolve some of the little flakes that are in there. That'll be a nice finish. Then we'll make a box and make our silicone up. Elizabeth McInnes, good to see you as well. All right, I've repeated all that 20 goddamn times. Look at this is some of the stuff that we did last time. This is actually a platter, you know, like a teacup platter. A saucer, rather. We just took a saucer and we made a slip mold of the saucer. So we can remake a saucer anytime we want. I don't know why we did it. Oh, I know why we did it. We had extra silicone laying around. It would have gone bad in about 40 minutes. And we had nothing else left to cast. So I went and got a teacup out of the kitchen, and that's what we did. This is also our slip cast of little sculptures from. So did squish and cap, and I don't have the cap to this one, but this is a 4-sided die. You can see the detail that it picks up. You can see the numbers in there, nice and clean and detailed. The cap had the 4th side, and it would just squish down on there and set. We'll make more dice later. Let's get this off the table. A box came in the other day. Stuff I ordered. This is some black tint for the resin. There's the resin I had out in the workshop. Just a clear epoxy resin. Doesn't say super sheen or anything. It's certainly not going to be a matte finish. It's just a, you know, glossy clear plastic. But you add a couple of drops of this and it becomes black. And then even if you spray a primer, if it gets scratched, all that happens is a little bit of black shows through instead of the white plastic. And it keeps it from looking ratty if it gets screwed up. Killingsworth, hi, lurking, working, no meeting for the rest of the day. Good for you. Meetings. Horse shit. Created by the man to keep you down. All right, I got a Istoyo Cordless Resin Mixer Pro. Because normally you would mix resin either by volume or by weight into a single cup. And you have to stir it with a little wooden paddle. Well, when you're doing that, you're whipping a lot of air in. You can't help it. It's just the way your wrist wants to work. And also, you're not mixing as thoroughly as you could if you had something that was dedicated to actually mixing. So let's open this up. We're not going to mix the silicone with it because I don't think we'll need to. But when we get around to mixing our resin, we use an epoxy resin, a 2-part resin, A and B, a resin and a hardener. And you want those mixed in equal amounts thoroughly. You can't have little bubbles and pockets of one or the other because then your resin doesn't set. Would they say thank you? Is there something we could do better? I don't know yet. Instruction manual, teeny tiny instruction manual. Let's see how the English is on this. The switch of the resin mixer is also a forward-reverse control switch, which can change the bit direction as required. This was written by a native English speaker. Okay, so these are the paddles. These are the mixing paddles. And looks like we got replacements of each. So we got a large one and a smaller one. We usually mix in like a solo cup, but we'll probably need a larger container for the next one. We could use this on the silicone, these big paddles. There are looks like a cast plastic, but the surface is such that you should be able to flake any resin or silicone. Obviously the silicone will come right off it, but flake any hardened resin off of it, so easy to keep clean. And then the magic wand. Did you come with batteries? I guess we'll find out. No, you didn't come with batteries. What do you need? I might have some at the desk. We'll see. 4 AAAs. All right, I don't have 4 AAA. I got 2 AAAs. So we'll have to get 4 AAAs before next Tuesday. Loon as in Luna. Oh, Luna as in lunatic. Okay, so that's what I wanted to call you all along. But I just never seen it spelled that way. Without the tick. Yeah. You know, I'm not afraid to screw up, get something wrong. I don't always get it right, but if you teach me, I'll keep it in mind. It'll stay here, and if I don't remember, I'll ask the second time. So I just appreciate that when folks have patience. You know what I mean? I'll screw up. Everybody will screw up. I know. I do all the time. CraftHole where TK paints his nails. Now, why don't we just have somebody who's good at it come and paint my nails? Paint my nails on the show. I don't give a damn. Yeah, absolutely, Gotham Raver. I hope that pattern works out for you. I'm just dragging ass today. Look at this. This is my silicone resin, and it's just A to B by volume. Super easy. Couldn't be easier. This is part A. So what do you want to bet? This is part B. That's it. We have some little plastic solo cups. So when we go to mix this, we're just going to mix them by volume, not by weight. So we'll just pour 2 even portions in. And then we'll dump one into the other. We'll use these sticks to scrape it all out, get it in there. We'll mix it up, pour it into a box. All right, well, I'm excited that this came in early. It lets me do what I want to do today. Set that down. All right, I gotta find room for this. Pardon me. Because use a great big piece of, look how giant this thing is, foam board, but we don't need anything as big as all this. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it in half. I have a lot of shit. It is my utmost priority to move this little studio out into the workshop. And the sooner I do that, the happier we're all going to be. So I'm going to have a ton of room. I'll be able to put things out on a large board. I'll be able to move out scroll saws and power. We're going to have a ball when that gets done. All right. I am just going to quickly cut this board down. Flip it. Oh, wait, maybe I can get this sticker off. No problem. All right, cool. I'm just going to use the right, I'll say 40% of the board. So let me get this on here. And I have to feel it out as to what is straight, because I don't have a T-square. Rotary cutter is your friend. Whoops. Already I stab it and I lose my on the straight edge. Alright, here we go. Go. Should be good. Dang. There we go. This is what we're working with now. Beat it into submission. The actual door itself is like 5 by 5, roughly. And so we want to make a box that is at least 6 by 6. So let's go ahead and measure out a base for this box, and then we'll cut the walls. And the walls, because the door is only this thick, the walls only have to be about that thick. Maybe twice the depth. I think at least twice the depth. All right. That's why I got the grid out today, so that we could line things up and use that as an approximate square, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we cut there, let's just cut across first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to cut across right here. Actually, I'm going to go 7 by 7, just so I have a lip if I need a lip. Line this up with these lines. Terrific. Set my walls over here. Let's go 7 in the other direction. Square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll put our straight edge there. Cut. And that'll be the base. Doesn't matter. Affected by it. That's our base. Okay, because this is already cut to the right length, I'm going to cut it in half, and that will be 2 walls already. It's to be about 4 1/3. Cut right here, approximately. I'll line the bottom of the one. Find that approximate. Straight. Just shifting, but not a big deal. Let's get the God, I hope I have enough glue. I mean, I've got a huge pack of glue somewhere, and it's probably down behind me, so I should be able to find it. Always have an extension cord handy. All right, if we blow up, if we go off the air, trouble. Ah, cool. All right, we're good. Let's heat up the glue gun. While we're doing that, I'm going to take and make 2 more walls. Got to measure out. Let's say 7 by 4 1/4. Twice. We're good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right here. Just like that. Whoops. Sorry about the top of my head. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter because we're only going to use this side, so. The up and down. Side to side cutting, maybe not as much. You can go away, and let's measure out 4 1/3 inches. We'll do it this way. So that the walls are approximately the same height as these that we just cut. 1, 2, 3, 4 1/3. Keep knocking over my glue gun. Not good. See there? That's not. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'm off. Better. I'm going to be a little deeper with my cuts. There we go. Cut this one in half and we're good. We've got all glue gun will be heated up by then. Are you heating up? Can't even tell if this is on, so we'll find out. Just about there. There we go. Much better. All right, 4 walls and a base. You can go away. Use my glue gun. Yeah, I got glue coming. All right, let's just go 1 wall at a time. An even coat, but I want it thin bead. Because a lot of my gluing to make it a secure seam to keep epoxy resin or silicone rather from pouring out the sides, that's going to be done on the outside wall. Set it slightly inside the lip, which means I might have to, I don't know if you can see this, slightly inside like that. about 1/8 of an inch. And which means I'll probably have to cut a couple of these walls a little shorter to make them fit. It's all right. I know. These things glue tight pretty quick. I could pitch my crafting video game idea to a studio. To complete a certain number of whips. It's a first-person shooter. You got glue guns, and I think it'd be great. So that one's there. You'll see why I put a lip and why I have to cut these down to size. So this has got to be cut right about here. Being daring and not using a straight edge for this one. Let's see. Off by just a hair. Just a hair. Let me catch up to chat. Sorry, guys. Nail painting, second in the nail painting. All right, well, do nail painting. We can find somebody that's real good. We'll have them as a guest. Probably when we move out to the workshop, because I'll have more room. Has BK ever tried macrame? She has not. Excited to see the molding process. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of stuff. We're going to do everything, pretty much everything we do is going to be... All right, so I'm off. I've got a slanted edge I can see that needs to be trimmed up. Wish I had my scissors in here, but I don't. There we go. See, that fits down in there right, and then we can glue that together. So let's do that, and that gives me a lip on that one too. Do that at the bottom. Yes. Okay. Went today to the department store. Carries kitchen items, and I looked for a little plastic like sandwich box, you know, with the lids that you put in the fridge or with leftovers or whatever. You all know what I'm talking about. I went to look for one of those. Whoops. I got the bottom tacked, but I didn't tack the sides. That's silly me. But I could not find one that was the right size. They were either too small or way too large. And you don't want to waste silicone. It's, you know, it's not going to break the bank, but it is not super cheap to just be throwing around like that. So I picked up some of this foam core board. Don't use regular poster paper. That's not going to work. You got to use foam core or plastic if you can find a nice thin plastic. You can make these boxes all day long. Now, you can tell. Here, I'm actually going to push this one down a little further. But you can tell there's a gap there. I don't know if you can tell. There you go. You see light? There's a gap. We're going to fill that gap. Don't worry about that gap. All right. This goes in, and so right about here, that's just about an inch, not quite. Nailed that one first try. Look at that. Do something a number of times, get good at it. That number for me was 2. Almost forgot twice. And the reason I wanted to know is if I had enough glue sticks is that I'm going to be using a lot more than I used, and I obviously do not have what I need, so y'all might have to watch yourselves for a second while I look and see if I can find my stick. Let's hold this down. So obviously there's a big gap here, and glue would go right through there unless you used your glue stick. So I'm going to press this down as close together as I can, and then just gob that stuff on. Just gob it on right here. With the intent to seal these seams so that when I pour the liquid epoxy in, it doesn't come out. I will definitely need another glue stick. Yeah, see, this one's already telling me there's not enough in there. Trying to get as much as I can dripping out of that thing. It's going to be right behind me. Give me just a second. I'm going to step out for 1 minute. Let's come back here. I'm going to step out for 1 minute. Maybe not even that. I'm going to get down off this chair, but I can't do this with the mic and everything on, so give me a second. And I'll be right back. got BK out back looking for more glue from my hot glue gun. I thought for sure that they were all up here, so I was ill prepared. I got a little bit more. I'm going to seal a corner real quick, and then I'm going to set it aside. And give us a second here. If I can find my... Oops, I heard a door close. That may mean they're here. Or not. I want to take a look at a few more Faerie doors, if that's alright with y'all. Some are commercial. Some are not. Let's just do a quick... Here. Throw this up. I love this door. I love the stonework, but what I'm learning is, after this first sculpture, is to build a base, is to build steps to the door. That seems to be an important thing. See, this one doesn't have them, and this is kind of what I was looking at. I thought there were some down here, or maybe over there. I thought they were all in this crafty area. Yeah, BK is now in here, staring at them. Has anybody ever built Faerie doors, put them out? I spoke with my cousin yesterday. She lives up in Olympia. She's a furniture designer. But she and her kids, when they were little, built a whole bunch of Faerie doors and then took them out to the Columbia Gorge and just snuck onto people's apple and pear orchards and stuck Faerie doors in there. Luna, sorry to see you going. I missed you there. This is one that we'll try after we're done sculpting. We'll try a little wood. There's none in that container. No, I'm sorry. Anything in here in these tubs? Okay, so I've got one more idea then. Oh, terrific. There they are. There they are. I've been searching for, searching through little Faerie doors like that. Get some ideas. I think the next one I sculpt, maybe a little hobbit door, just to do one. All right. Let's use this to push out what's left in there. Can I do that? Can I pull the trigger and push at the same time? There we go. There we go. Fill in that corner. All the way up the side. You could use a heavy-duty rubber epoxy, like they make them they come in, it looks like a syringe with two tubes, and you squeeze it out, and it's an epoxy, mostly for adherence, large items, but you can do the same thing. Just use a glue gun because it's less expensive. You have a little more control. You can gob it on and keep gobbing it on, and all it does is do a better job. I think it's the inexpensive part that I'm most impressed by. Okay, so this is how we've sealed up the edges of the foam core on that side. This side you could before see through. Not happening now. All right, we'll do the edge of the long wall. Through some glue sticks, but I mean, what are they? A pack, like $4 for a pack of 40, 50. That's it a sec. Probably go back over a little bit. There might be a little bit of a gap here. Just go back over it when that cools. This is already mostly dry. A little tacky. Let's get this side. Then we'll get on to the fun part of mixing the epoxy. Okay, time to switch out sticks. I always try to aim my glue gun straight down so that gravity does its thing. I've seen people try to use it this way, where it just drips out and they brush with it. Crafting license taken away. They still have those, right? Somebody charged me like $5 grand to renew mine. Music was awful loud. You guys didn't say anything about it. Put you to sleep. Not with my content, but with my demeanor. Big old gap right here, you can see. See there? Great big old gap. That'll go away quickly. Hot glue so much that if somebody called me hot glue, I would take it as a compliment. It means something to me. Nice little strip. Be sealed up. Check the insides real quick, see if I see to the outside anywhere. Definitely in this corner. You see the light in that corner? But that it's going to hit that wall of glue, so I'm not worried about it. There doesn't seem to be any gaps. Get the little hairs out. Somebody asked me the other day how much detail a good silicone mold will pick up. I've had it pick up fingerprints on a bit of clay, not like hard impressions of fingerprints, but fingerprints like somebody picked up something that wasn't fully hardened and set it back down and just left a simple microscopic depth fingerprint, and sure enough the silicone picked it up. So I don't like that this is exposed, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I'm not even going to read the instructions that tell me whether or not it's a big deal. We're just going to try it. I should have flipped this around, and I didn't. I wasn't paying attention. I'm terrible that way. All right, checking for gaps in seams. There's a little bit of something here. I want to make sure that I just come in and fill where I suspect there may be gaps, like right around here. Did the music just get quaky and shaky for everyone else? 22 away from 1,000 at Boss Kitty Live. That's terrific news. They did lower the threshold for allowing us. The whole point So the point of 1,000 is to get us in the algorithm and get us, you know, seen by a few more people, and that's an important thing. We're not looking to monetize our content because we do lives, so there's not a ton of, you know, monetization to be had. You're not going to get 800,000 views on a VOD of a live. You'll just get a few more people coming into the lives on the regular, and that's all we want. The point of any monetization would be to say do our channel memberships for like $1 a piece so that you guys can use all the emotes that you use in Discord. But getting that 1,000 is still important to us. And by the way, if we said, what do we say, 22 away, if we get them, this is only the middle of the month, so if we get another 22 and we maintain over 1,000 by the first show of July, then our subscriber giveaway is both of the box sets that we just released. That's like $300 worth of yarn. Just for subscribing to something for free. It's pretty good. Alright, I think I have sealed all the gaps that I was concerned about, even though they probably weren't even gaps. This corner one last time. Okay. Now I feel confident about that, and because I do, I'm going to unplug the hot glue gun, just in case. Hey kids, we're just about to mix in some silicone. Let's find our sculpture, our fairy door. See how it sits back on the bottom here. It sits pretty flush. Like it doesn't, if I put it here, it's not really moving around when I jiggle it, which is good. There's still going to be some gaps underneath. I don't know that there's really a way to seal that. I thought maybe some hot glue, but I haven't really tested it on this clay. So let me grab a little tiny piece of this clay that's already dried. We'll use this guy, our old sculpture. We'll put a little hot glue on the bottom. Because before I used putty. So we used a little hot glue on the bottom and we would stick it to this. Now with any luck that'll dry and I'll be able to pull it apart and flake off the hot glue. It will not, the hot glue will not have adhered to the waxy clay. And if that's the case, great. We'll just use a little hot glue and we'll come around these edges so that there's not gaps like this. We'll come around these edges and then we'll use that to seal this to the bottom. And then when it's time to pull this out, it'll be easy to pull that stuff off the back of it. Don't have to worry about it. But that's all you need, really. If you do one of these, make sure you've got at least 1 inch all the way around it so that you get a good mold. We're not going to fill it as high as these walls. You can see the depth. Not going to fill it as high as these walls. We'll only fill it to maybe twice the height, which is about halfway, a little more than halfway, maybe 60% of the way up the walls with silicone. Then we'll set that aside. It takes about 4 hours to perfectly cure. So we'll have it on Tuesday. In the meantime, this doesn't even look like it sticks. See that? That doesn't even stick, so probably wouldn't be the stuff that we would use to adhere it. But you know what? It might be. Because it doesn't stick, but it will stick to the paper, this will be resting on a surface that is then completely flush to it. I'm going to do it anyway. We're going to use a little hot glue on the bottom of this, just around here, around this gap, so that when we cast it, it will seal up the underside. And what that will do is when we pull it from the mold, it will have a uniform back. I won't have to trim as much what we call flashing off of it, which is just the thin little edges that... No, that's not going to work at all. That doesn't want to stick even while it's hot. All right, we'll just scrap that idea and we'll pour. We'll just pour. I will cut off any flashing I need to cut off. I'm not worried about it. We'll just set her right in there. Okay. This is an A to B silicone resin. So it's by volume. Just have to pour 2 level. What we need to figure out is 6 by 6 by, let's say, 6 by 6 by 1.5 inches. And then figure out the volume of that. So I'm gonna do a little searching while y'all are staring at it. 6 by 6 by 1.5. Calculator. Rectangular tank volume, that's what we want. So we're saying these are, let's say they're 6.5 inches. Why don't I just bring it up for you? Found a rectangular volume calculator. By 6.5 in width. And I'll go back and change those to inches here. And we'll say a height of, yeah, 1.5 inches. $63 inches. 63.5 inches. So, I'm trying to do it in my head. 63.5. Oh man. Damn math. 63. We're gonna have to pour some pretty full cups. My estimation is that both parts by volume will be this. So I'm gonna need a larger thing to pour them in. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour both into this. This is an odd container shape, but I can come to the corner. I can still stir. I can still pour. So I'm going to improv. We're going to use this as the final. I just got to make sure that there's nothing in it. I don't want a bunch of schmutz in my silicone. All right, these are just estimations. Wish me luck. Let's get this keyboard out of here before it fills up with rubber. Okay, where did I put? There it is. Bingo. Somebody called me a hot pan, I'd accept. All right, let's get a couple of mixing. We'll leave that one in there. BB Dino. It's factory direct, so you can order it directly from their site, or you can go through Amazon, and they get it directly from the manufacturer, so it's a little less expensive, but it does a lot of detail. There's a 30, there's a 15, a 30. 30 is more if you're three-dimensional parts, right? If you're trying to cast something three-dimensional from a 3D printer, maybe the 30. This 15 is perfect for what we're doing. See, just like this, we're gonna make little one-sided molds, just like that. Self-degassing, I don't know how much to think about that. Normally, if you're pouring a lot of silicone, you want to pour it in the mold and then put it in a degassing chamber, which draws the oxygen and all the bubbles out of it. We'll see. Self-degassing. Water-like smooth, so it's going to pour really well, which is what gives us all that great detail. So let's Let's start with one. And I'm going to mark these 2 cups. I'm going to put them side by side and mark them to what I believe is the same height. All right. Let's line these up with some straight lines. Let's call it there we go. Those are my approximate markers at identical heights on these cups. And that's what we'll pour to. Those are our pour lines. We may have way too much silicone. We may have not enough. We can always mix up more, though. All right. Directions. Does this ask me to shake? I do not believe that it would. But I always like to turn it a little bit. Get the bottom going to sure that it's all it needs to be. How many ounces is that cup? It's 8, so we're looking at about 14 cubic inches. I'm trying to fill the mold. I don't want to go to the top of this mold. I want to go halfway up this mold. That was my estimation. So, well, she's doing the math for me. If we need to mix more, we just mix more on the spot. I think my estimate is going to come up a little shy in terms of depth, but we'll see. Goodness, this is well sealed. Plastic, foil, cardboard, all the things in between me and part A. Got a little bit of what they call pot time to work with these. Let's just go to our fill line. Oops. Should be going. Alright, there's part A. Glove. It's got to be the hardener. It's a different color. This will let us know a lot of times. Look at that orange, isn't that neat? The color is simply there to let you know when you have mixed the two thoroughly. They can both be clear if they needed to be. My rag is on the floor. Pardon me while I get something to wipe my hands. Okay. Here we go. Kind of hard because this is an odd shape. So what I'm going to do is actually put it on an incline and brace it against something so it doesn't slide. And then we'll do this, right? 2 into 1. So let's go ahead and start adding 2. get it all out. Because it's clear, you don't really realize how much is still in there. Alright, that one's down. Let's just start mixing it. Alright, I hope this doesn't leak, guys. I really hope this doesn't leak. Dig down in these corners and make sure I'm pulling up all of part A. It does have a very smooth finish, unlike the other stuff that I had been using. This has a really smooth texture. And so what I do see a few bubbles come up, but they come up real quick and then disappear. So kind of happy about that until I see, you know, the finish. I can't be over the moon, but degassing seems to be a thing that it does. Okay. Do me a favor. Can you, while you're standing there, can you plug this back in? I'm going to plug in my glue gun just in case. If I start to see a little leak, I'm going to pick this box up and quickly seal the corner. All right? All right, because I'm pouring into a rectangle, I'm going to start, and I don't want a bunch of splashing, and I don't want to bring a lot of air bubbles in. I'm going to start in a corner and pour, and then just let it work its way out. Let's cross our fingers that we got enough here, huh? We're a little shy, so we're gonna mix a little bit more and pour in there. But this will be good. This will give this time, while it's still shallow, to cough up any air bubbles that it has. All right. We'll just do another quick bit. Oh, I do have a leak. I do have a leak. Can you see it? Here in this corner. So let me, real quick, my towel out, and we'll try to save it with some quick hot glue and see if that'll work. Dabbing it in there to see if we can't. Oh man, this might not work, guys. We're gonna find out though. Just gonna gush as much hot glue here as we can. Oh no, I've got it breaking out of corners. Oh no, my box might not work, guys. This might have to be aborted. That's what happens with crafts sometimes. They don't always come out the way you need them to. Problem is I get a little silicone in these corners and the glue doesn't stick to the silicone. It no longer becomes adhesive when it hits that silicone. So I'm trying to spread it with my fingers as it goes. Ah, but I may have failed. I may have failed. That's all right. We just make another box, right? Just how it goes. They're both on that end. I think they're both just gonna continue to pour, but we're gonna try. We're letting some of this hot glue. Yeah, letting some of this hot glue dry, but I don't believe that it's gonna You got another one? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna matter. There we go. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna matter though, guys. I think this leak may have been just too much. It's kind of slowed on that corner. Just gobbing it on because you can. Another reason to like hot glue. I may have completely stopped them, but we're gonna see. We're gonna let this sit for a minute and cool. We'll keep adding to it. Thank you, BK, for helping me. In the meantime, I got toast and tea. So it's time for a snack break. So we're gonna see if this silicone leak has been stopped. And in the meantime, toast and tea. This piece of toast right here has a wildflower honey on it that was made by our neighbors. They have a bee ranch outside of town where they sell honey, and it's so good. There's a little honey tea as well. Okay, so I do not believe that I can salvage this box because this leak down here keeps coming. It keeps coming. It does not want to stop. I could sit here and try to plug it until it hardens enough, but that might take half an hour. So, I don't know. Should I mix more? I mean, I've already put in... Should I mix more? How long does it take for this to harden? What's the cure time? I know the cure time is 4 hours. Pot life is 50 minutes, so let's keep trying. Let's keep trying. Let's daub up some silicone out of these corners and keep pressing with the glue and see if we can't salvage something. Yeah, see, this leak is pretty good right here. The idea is to get to it before the silicone has a chance to get out. Hot glue is hot. I don't recommend pumping it out of a gun and then sticking your finger right there, but sometimes you do what has to be done for the sake of crafting. It's a mess. To have some time to be a sloppy kid. Doesn't matter if you're a 55-year-old man mounting debt. What does it matter? Being a sloppy kid, that takes care of a lot of evils. Well, but you know, actually, we may be successful in this endeavor. We're just going to keep trying. Boss Kitty coasters. No, we did not make our bread. We have made bread. We tried making bread in our cast iron Dutch oven as well, and that worked great, by the way. You can do a An old nuke or knock test on your bread. Everybody familiar with the knock test for bread? Oh, it is a mess. It's just an absolute mess, but that's all right. Tea time. It's delightful. I don't know what that is, but that's really good. Super lurking. Well, JK, I'm glad you're here. You're watching the slow sinking of the Titanic. As we ended up with a couple more leaks than we intended on this box. Clear this silicone out, then I'll know when and if it's still leaking. There we go. So far, the leaks, if not completely abated, have slowed down a significant amount. Let's keep watching it. I'd like it to harden before I put any more silicone in it, but I can't wait too long with the silicone because I need these to, adhere as a single mold. So I'm going to give this just another minute or two. Add the rest of the silicone to cap the mold. I got some leaks on the side too. They don't look as bad and they look sealable. Through the glue sticks. I guess I should refer to them as hot glue sticks because I said glue stick to BK. She said, "What are you looking for?" I said, "I'm looking for glue sticks," which is what I call these, right? What else would you call them? Right here in the bag. They're called glue sticks. It's right there. But in her little mind, a glue stick is that thing you have at school where you pop the top off and you rub the glue down. And that is, I guess, also a glue stick. But who would default there? Yes, Knit and Craft. That is the bread tap that I learned from a friend of mine in New York. I'd never seen it. We were at a place and he just picked up the bread and put it back down. I thought maybe he was expecting that someone lived there. People live in a lot of places in New York City. But no, he was testing the crustiness of the bread. Folks, we may have sealed our silicone mess. We may have salvaged this mold after all. So let's quickly mix up a couple and get the rest of that in there before it all sets. Mix up half of what I did last time. Well, for sure, need to order more of this before I make another door, or before I cast another door, rather. Find that the bi-volume epoxies are a little more forgiving than the bi-weight epoxies. Let me see. Am I good? let's mix these up. Something a little more cylindrical to mix in. Just kind of a pain in the ass. You end up, by the direction that you're forced to mix, into whipping a lot more air into this than you want to. It's alright. This portion of the mold is not exactly on the surface layer. It's more of just the backing to keep the mold solid. So there's a little bit of bubbles in that. That's okay. Still don't want them, but time to forgive yourself. Okay. Here we go. Pour this in. Hope that we've sealed this well enough, huh? Instead of just swirling. It gives the silicone time to find its own level. Things kind of ooze out over the surface of the item you're trying to cast, and that makes it a little better for details, fewer pockets, air pockets that you'd get. Okay. What's great about this in terms of crafting mess is that when this sets up and this sets up, you just peel it off, throw it back in the dishwasher. All good. I got some spilled here on the table. I'll wipe up, it'll come off. No, the leak in the corner is back. This one is back a little bit, so let's do a quick patch job. It's coming out a little higher on the seam than it was before. And got it there. Check around the other side. There, looking like a goopy mess. That is a little bit. There's kind of a tiny leak there. Go. I do think we've got it. Okay, so let's get all this stuff out of the way, because it is now just an unnecessary mess to have around. Junk spaces. Junk space, let's find one here. Cups can go with it. Let's wipe down. Table. Still with me, Emily. Lily. Tina Hooper, Carmen. Carmen, did you enjoy now being in the open of Boss Kitty Live? That scarf is amazing. Kind of tea is this? Sure. It's something floral, for sure. I'm not real ready to pin it down. It does have a little of this wildflower honey in it, which is great. It's all an adventure. Every time. It's an adventure every time. I love this. By the way, this is the... tea strainer she gave me. So just squeeze it with this little trigger. Stuff for about 20 minutes now. So it's got another half hour of pot time, which means it's going to start setting up and being unliquid within the next half hour. So we'll just set it aside there. And we'll find something to do for about a half an hour. What time is it now? Oh yeah, we've easily got another half hour, 45 minutes in us. So we'll just set this aside. We'll let it become non-liquid to the best of its ability. And then once it is, we'll know that the leaks no longer matter. We don't have to patch any holes. We just have to wait an additional 3 hours. We won't do that. I'll come back on Tuesday. Well, probably on the Instagram. At CraftHolegram, if you're not following the Instagram. At CraftHolegram, one word. I will later on today post the photos of that mold. In fact, I promise you, when this is ready, I will make a reel of demolding the fairy door. All right? Sound good? And then this is it. This is what we're going to cast it in the first time around. We may end up, if this is a good mold, if this turns out to be a good mold, we may end up casting it in concrete just to see if it works. Because it is intended to be a garden ornament. We're legitimately going to carve all these things and cast them and put them in our garden. And this is the resin and hardener, 2-part resin epoxy. And we have this and we have this. Add a few drops of colorant to resin mixture. So we will. Yeah, we got the mixer. We got a little hand mixer just for resin. So what we'll do is we'll pour this into a container, mix part A and part B, and then when they're thoroughly mixed, we'll add 4 or 5 drops of this black colorant, so that when we pour it in the mold, when it comes out, it will be black. Paint it. Put a wash on it. It'll look terrific. It'll absolutely look terrific. And then we'll try it with concrete. We'll see which one holds up better out in the garden. 14. The peeling of the other containers. You know what? That we will also be doing the peeling of this container here. I kind of want to put it on its end so it more evenly coats. There's just a little bit there. You can see it kind of running. While it's still running, I'm going to evenly coat it just so I can give you a satisfying video. I'll tear it off. I'll do it in slow motion. I'll add sound effects, inappropriate sound effects. It'll be great. Everything is content. All right, set that aside. Now these two won't set on their own, so I'm just going to try to pour what little of A there is into B and mix them up so that I have something else to peel for you. One of the great things about crafting. Sometimes the cleanup is its own little reward. saw proof of why hot glue is the greatest single craft tool in any arsenal. Hot glue and a hot glue gun are numbers 1 and 2 in the greatest craft tools of all time. Put that in there. Let's sides. Huh? Heavily exploit the tagging system when I... Damn it, Lillian. Why aren't you working for me? I need one of you. I'm an old man, and I'm trying to learn how to take this yarn shop, this little yarn business, and I can expand it. I can get you to the right accountant. I can make sure that all those things are done. I can work on your wholesale contracts, all of that. And I also have a good background in the art design and using the tools of things like that because of production. But I can no longer understand the consumer base. Here's the one thing I understand about the modern consumer base. Let's go back here. The modern consumer base. It's the one thing I understand that makes me excited and happy. And that is that instead of being brand focused, it's community focused. I love that. I wish that it had always been that way. I wish all of our marketing and things like that had always been about building communities. It used to be about building brand loyalty, and that always seemed phony to me. Why would you be loyal to a brand? I like the idea of being personality driven and about communities, building communities around something that people want or need. I'm so happy you guys love the yarn. Like that, I'm over the moon about the reaction to the yarn. And I really love that BK is willing to do a show and all that. But I don't know how to do social media. I know how to create a show and make it run. But I don't know what kinds of things attract a modern audience. So we only get so far, and we may only ever get so far. But man, I wish I could crack that code because I'm probably 30 years out of date. But I have been using the tagging system on our descriptions on YouTube, so I appreciate that. It makes me think that if I post any content of just peeling stuff on, maybe I should just do a whole subsection on the Boss Kitty Live channel of just peeling and cleanup, putting paste on my fingers, and then just kind of peel. Whatever I used to do in the 3rd grade. Okay, so we were looking at. I get distracted. I don't know where I am anymore. We were looking at making other fairy houses. Where is my sketch? Don't have my sketch paper on me? I guess I don't. So we will look at some fairy houses while we're waiting for this to set up. And maybe the last thing we'll do is check on the mold. I'm doing great. Thank you, Tina. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think I've mentioned this before. One of the tougher things that I've had is communicating with other YouTubers, because we'll talk to them and they'll be very excited about working with us and very excited about collaborations and all of these things, and then all of a sudden they will have disappeared. We stopped getting responses from them, so we've had some stop starts with collaborations here on YouTube. Hopefully, we'll find one and it'll work out great. Don't understand social media either. Don't think it's actually meant for humans. I don't either. But it's amazing to me because when I was younger and working in media, you only had a set number of platforms. If you weren't on the radio, if you didn't work in a newspaper, and you didn't give the 5 o'clock news, and you didn't have any cultural relevance as a television program, those were it. Those were your, the idea of self-publishing a book meant a lot more money and a lot of hassle. And then it's only been the last 20, 25 years where things like that have changed, and the platforms and the opportunity has just, the doors thrown wide open, and all the tools are now understandable. I think that's terrific. But then trying to navigate an audience that's used to that's a little different. All right. I like this guy a lot. This in here. This looks like I wonder how these hold up in the weather. These little topiaries have got to be moss, right? They've got maybe just like a lacquered moss. I wonder how they hold up. Same with this. Are these maybe fairy doors that you attach to the outside of your house where you've got eaves? This is a neat one. These are popsicle sticks, little pieces of jewelry. I think we looked at this one on Tuesday. Little pieces of jewelry for the hinges. I think these are great. It looks like jute wrapped around a ring, and then there's a little bead here for the doorbell. And then I talked about how I figured out after looking at a bunch more of these that steps are real important. I don't have them on this particular sculpture, but here's a couple of simple steps with just some branch cut. Here's a little close-up of that window. I like that. It's real cute. Some folks, let's try this. DIY fairy door LEDs. Some people are putting LEDs in their fairy doors. This one looks commercial. This one's available commercially. But it has a porch light in it. And I really kind of want to do that. But I'd have to attach it to some sort of solar collector element, because I don't have any electricity in my garden, and I don't want it. All of our lights out there are solar. So my goal is to figure out a way to make one of these where I can put an LED solar light in it without it being big and bulky. Here's a little solar light that's in a fairy window. And it looks like wire comes up here, so maybe that's going to a solar collector as well. That's really neat. I like that. Oh my word, hang on. We're going to open the image. Zoom. It's awesome. Look at that. That is magical. And there's the solar collector. So I can do this. I'm probably just going to have to find a solar spotlight and take it apart and take the light out and then wire it from the other side. Okay, so moss from model making and mix it with epoxy and to set it in molds. Lillian, I think that's terrific. So right up the road from me is a hobby shop with a lot of railroad stuff. So they've got a ton of the miniature stuff. So we'll try dipping some tiny flowers and some moss in. I think that would be terrific. I can make a dice topiary. Lily, I love that idea. Like druid dice. What a great idea. Yeah, I think that's an idea. All right, there it is. So we're going to do this. I have some solar spotlights, but I'm going to dig around and see what else I can find in terms of solar collectors into it's going to be a single light, so it'll be like a single spotlight. If I can find one with a couple of them, and I may know the kit that does that, I might make a window too. And then decorating the solar collector is not a bad idea either. This is one made with cardboard and lit. So I'm going to actually visit. Let's visit this site real quick. This is like an Instructables thing. Autodesk Instructable. Yeah, it is Instructables. Somebody made this out of cardboard. So all these layered bits, this window. I love the kind of deformed central cross shape in that window. It's great. Nice little detail. And then varnishing it. Using a water-based varnish to keep it solid. That's a great idea. What do they use? They used a matchbook. And it looks like maybe an old piece of software box or something. Gluing, texturing, painting. Now the texturing is neat because this is cardboard, so it's just a package box. They're using a sharp edge on the corners to soften the corners, and then cutting, maybe marking with a pencil these lines, and then roughing it up with sandpaper. Really great glue gun. So I'm not going to do a cardboard. We have several birdhouses hanging off the trees in the back. I'm going to take the birdhouses down and put spotlights coming out of them, solar spotlights. So this will be good practice. A light up Faerie window. Oh yeah, look at that. That's really neat. It's a little larger. Let's get out of that. We looked at enough of those for now. Let's make sure that we got no leaks. So, whoops. There we go. That's better. Let's make sure we got no leaks. Just by bringing this back down and looking to see where it was. Little bit of a leak. Looks like this corner down here at the bottom. This is all, looks like it's going to set far before we have any, it's just so little down there. But since I'm still plugged in, just wipe it off and glue. This will be glue stick number 6 today. That was taken care of. Otherwise, no other leaks. So I would say a roughly successful mold. We're going to just let it sit right there and cure. It's got about 4 hours to cure. And then that'll be fun. We'll do some fun stuff with it. Little wooden mushrooms you can paint or make molds of. Well, why don't we just sculpt and cast our own? You know what? We should cast this. This should also go in the garden. What's fun about this is I can take this guy, put him in this cup like this. Let's get back here to this camera. I can put him in this cup like this. Just use a little something to tack him down to the bottom. And then I can pour silicone in this cup. I'd probably rather use a larger cup. Maybe one of the red solo cups is a little larger than this. And pour silicone in this cup. But I don't need to, because we already have that mold. What did I do with it? Hang on. We have this mold. And it is that guy. So we could actually cast into this. Actually cast into this mold and make another one of these for the garden. Hey, it'd be nice. I get some more use out of this guy. I'm very happy with that. Should we do it? Should we cast it now? We've still got like 20, 30 minutes. Let's do it. Let's pour a little resin. Sure, my AB of my silicone is closed tight and out of the way. thing I will need with this, though, is a rubber band, and I don't know if I have a rubber band, so let me text BK. See what she says. I need a rubber band. Smiley face. There we go. Let's find out. Let's find out if we can get one. The point of that rubber band is to keep this secure. It doesn't, we don't squeeze it so hard that it deforms. You squeeze it tight enough that this stays connected. All right, so let's look at this resin. We'll mix it in this cup here. Is this by volume or by weight? You know, and if we don't have any, if we can't get her to get a rubber band, I'll look and see if we have something we can tie it up with. What do you got? Oh, that'll work. It should work. Let's find out if this works. She's going to sacrifice a hair tie for this. We'll find out if this hair tie works. Hair tie works like a charm. So we're just going to use a small hair tie. Thanks, BK. Everybody say thank you, BK. Okay. This is equal amount, so it's equal amounts by volume. So, I only have the one. I'm so unprepared. I was not prepared to pour resin today, but we're going to do it because I want to use my black tint. Let's see what we get. And I also, in another box, have another stir stick. Can use. It's in this box. Okay, I'm going to estimate again by volume. We're just going to estimate. See if it works. Looking at that. A ton. Let's see what we get. Tell her you said thanks. All right, let's start with one. See how good I am at estimating. Tiny bit more. Do this. I'm going to know what's left in the bottles when I'm done. So as far as moving the studio out into the workshop, we have a an electrician coming on the 20th, and that electrician will be running, putting in 2 new 20 amp breakers out there, running a utility plug for our new tool that we just bought for Boss Kitty. We'll talk more about that. And then also leaving 2 standard outlets with 20 amps so that we can use all sorts of tools and stuff when we move out there. Plenty more to go. Then we've got a fella coming out on the a couple days later to replace the window that's currently in the garage, to give us a sliding window. There we go. That looks about right. To give us a sliding window that we can then put an exhaust system in for these new tools and all of that. And then we run our cable, our Cat6 network cable, out to the workshop so that we can hook up the broadcast PC and actually send a signal to y'all. And then it's just a matter of me building the set, putting the lighting up in the ceiling, and all of that will be moved over. So if everything goes well, we could be moved over within a couple of months. And then things really start to get fun. Mixing it up. Try and not... I don't pull the stick up more than maybe a 1/4 inch so that I'm not drawing a bunch of air back down into it. There's already going to be a bunch of air in it, and hopefully settle down before I put it in the mold. Okay. Nice even color. A and B are evenly mixed. Let's put a couple of drops. Tint it black. Till desired color is achieved. This bottle colors up to 1 gallon. Four drops. Let's find out what we can do. Might be more than 4 that we need, but we'll see. Somehow got some up on the walls of the cup. Oh no. It's plenty. We good. All right. That's terrific. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. I got this black, again, I got it in the same order that I got the silicone, so I got it off of Amazon. $6 for this bottle. Doing something kind of artsy, if you're casting artsy stuff and you don't need clear resin. A lot of people use clear resin for all sorts of things because they... But if you're doing something artsy that you're going to end up painting, I recommend going with either gray or black. Just makes everything that's on top of it a little sharper, a little brighter. If it gets nicked, glowy white that's coming out of it. All right, set that one aside. Let's pour in this mold, just in case. Get this cutting board. Put the band on. Get that hair out of there. Put the band on so that everything's secure. You separate the molds. You want to make sure the mold is squished tight together. I like to pour in a little first. And then slow getting into all of the little nooks, crannies, keeping me from some of the details. Pour the rest of it in. Right to the top. Just tap this a little bit, get everything to settle in there. If we got any air come out from whatever little lip there under. See, this isn't super. I'm gonna get a little bit of flashing along the sides. We'll just cut that off when the time comes. I got a wish it was DK, but tight. Let's tie a quick little knot and get that through. Get that tension on it. Like that. You can move this hair tie up a little. Okay, I don't see any bubbles. So now we've got another thing on Tuesday that we can do. 24 hours. I think it's probably set at 24 hours. That's my guess. Let's find out. Does not give me cure time. That's really weird. I've never seen a resin that... let's just say, let's give it 24 hours. I think that'll be fine. You came just in time for a mold, Michi. You came in time for a mold of this older sculpture. Because this too can go in our garden. I made this long before. Oh, I'm glad that I can use it now. Yeah, I'm going to have plenty of flashing because I don't have this super tight, because I don't have a rubber band. Flashing is easy. You just take a little X-Acto knife, trim it off. Take a fine sandpaper over that edge, and you never know. You never know it's there. That reminds me, there's a little bit of that left. Give me a second. I'm going to dip off the screen for a second, and because I think I'm able to take this much resin. So we'll see. 1 second. I couldn't find the caps, and I don't want to tear everything apart to do the caps. But I do have this, that saucer. Let's try that. What's out from the inside of it. Let's pour the rest of this resin into this saucer mold and see what comes of it. The best part is there's no more next Monday, so I don't have to move this stuff while it cures. So let's get that off. Well, you know what? I'm gonna need this cutting board anyways. This, if you weren't here earlier, is a teacup saucer that threw it in a box like this one and made a mold of it. This is what, by the way, this mold came from one of my handmade boxes. 8 to 12 hours tack-free, 72 for full cure. That's fine. We've got till Tuesday, right? So let's... don't, but we'll pour it in there and let's find out. If not, maybe we'll mix up a tiny bit more. It's going to settle as it draws out. You see the air bubble come up there. Yeah. I'm just going to squish it a little bit. Not enough to make it come over the edge. But you can see it's pushing up those air bubbles as the sides. Let's do a little more resin. Let gravity take some of these air bubbles out. Still got a ton of air in here, and that's... Separate that a little bit, see if it helps go out to the edges. Yeah, see, no more air. Resin itself either, which is awesome. So it is doing a good job of degassing. Also got, I can't tell if that is schmutz or an air bubble. Looks like schmutz, but anytime you're working with silicone or resin, if you're mold making, you're making any of this stuff, you're going to have some extra. Even if you have to mix up, you didn't make enough initially, have your molds around. Just have different kinds of molds around, because you never know. You never know. Get that right to the edge, and that's pretty much all she wrote for that, too. A couple of quick pushes. So now I've got two things out of that small amount of resin. That's pretty good. Okay, so today we took a sculpture from Tuesday that started out as a... And we took that sculpture and cast a silicone mold around it. We got some resin out, we tinted it, and we poured it into a couple of molds. This one definitely for the garden. Here. Well, I still have a tiny bit left. I'm going to make sure I got enough at the bottom of this guy. Because it's going to continue to settle as it cures. And as it does, it will suck down some of the resin. So you want to get to where it's like bubbling, where the center of it is higher than the edges. Does that make sense? So that as that reservoir draws down, it'll take the into that mold. Okay, there we go. Next Tuesday is going to be cool. This weekend's going to be cool. Later today, this is going to be great. Stuff here Tuesday to work on. We'll sand this down. We can start painting stuff while we'll resin cast this mold. The mushroom. Figure out something to do with this. And that's what we'll do on Tuesday, and then maybe we'll start another sculpture Thursday. But it's all right there for us. It's going to be a fun time. I appreciate everybody that stuck around. I don't know how many of you are left. If I look here, we will be back with CraftHole, like I said, on Tuesday of next week at 11. Boss Kitty Live. These are all Pacific time. Follow CraftHole to see the reel on this guy later today. CraftHolegram, one word, on Instagram. You'll find us and have some fun with us. I held while I was out in Central Oregon this week, so you'll enjoy those. Knit and Craft, thank you, and I appreciate you, Lillian Chan. You gave me some incredible ideas today, and you know, I'll be working on them and looking into them. Emily Sen, as well. Killingsworth, it good to have you here, even though you were in and out, which I understand it is a work day. Yarn Pirate, everybody, thank you. I'm glad you were here. If you're still here, there you are. You will see these unmolded. You will also see peeling silicone slowly. It'll be great. Maybe I'll chew on it for some of you. Some of you may enjoy that. All right. Before we leave, let's do what we always do before we leave, because we're going to get back to the real world. Now that the show's done, the real world sucks. And so the only way to combat that is to keep your blood pressure low, keep your mind focused, and we do that by 3 times. That's all we need. 5 is a little many. 5 is what I do, but 3 times is all we need. You're going to breathe in through the nose, hold, and then slowly out your pursed lips. Don't hyperventilate. Inhale. Like that. It's good. I like that. Ready? Last time. Here we go. Ready? Everybody did great. I appreciate you being here with. Craft something. I don't care what you got to pick up and craft. If you're just doing origami with dollar bills, you're still putting something. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you being here. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you Tuesday.